Dr. Magudumana and 5 co-accused are due to appear in court again on the 11th and 12th of May, that's next week, for another attempt at getting bail. Magudumana appeared in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court alongside 2 recently arrested G4S former employees. They face a litany of charges, including aiding an inmate to escape from prison, violation of a corpse, and fraud. It comes a day after the Mangaung Correctional Centre terminated its contract with the private prisons contractor G4S. That contract was terminated by the Justice Ministry.
It will be in the interest of justice for this court to adjourn the case to the date of the 12th, rather the 11th and to the 12th. It is clear that the duration of this bail application cannot be guaranteed at this juncture. And if bail application is not finished on that specific date, then it will be determined as to other dates, or further arrangements will be made as to further hearing of the bail application.
Well, let's talk further then about one of the other developments from today's court proceedings. We're hearing that the murder charge against the accused will be or has been withdrawn. Legal analyst Nthabiseng Dubazana joins us for more tonight. Nthabiseng, a very good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time. So, if confirmed that the charge sheet, which some reporters say they've already seen, and does not have the charge of murder listed against the accused, how significant would that be, and is it the right call by the state at this point?
Well, it depends what the state has in its docket. If it feels that at this stage there's not sufficient prima facie evidence against the accused for them to go ahead with the charge of murder, it is their prerogative as the dominus litis to remove the charge of murder. They may at a later stage add it if the investigations as they go forward, there's sufficient evidence confirming that, there was a murder, and as a result they can re-add it to the charges. But if by that time bail has been granted to the accused, it cannot now hinder the bail situation. Then the accused continue on with bail, but not with their bail conditions that would be attached, but knowing that there is a new charge against them.
But it's not entirely unexpected, is it? Because Magudumana's father was, during a separate hearing, he too had the murder charge against him withdrawn. And even in the reporting that's been done from when Ground Up broke the story, the allegation around the prison break did not show that any of these people had actually killed a person, but what we've been hearing more of is them claiming, allegedly, the bodies of people who had already died illegally.
And it's very correct. I think perhaps the main charge of murder would have been that one of the body that was burnt in the prison. But then again, it was burnt beyond the situation to confirm whether or not the people involved here would have been the ones who would have killed that person. Yes, it has been determined that a blunt force trauma was suffered by the deceased there, but we don't know when it happened, how it happened. So therefore, attaching a charge of murder to any of the accused would be a very difficult feat indeed.
I'm also interested in the issue of the financial flows. Ground Up tonight has a report alleging that, for example, the CCTV operator was supposed to have been paid a bribe of up to 2.5 million rand in helping Bester and Magudumana pull this off. The state will have to lay out, will it not, a clear case of the flows of money, and perhaps even try to prove that those monies were acquired illegally, when you consider that Bester and Magudumana were allegedly running business operations together while he was serving time for murder and rape.
That is very correct. So the state would have to apply for a Section 205. So it's basically Section 205 of the Criminal Procedure Act, wherein now we are requesting access to the bank accounts of the accused persons. And then once we've received that thumbs up, or the state has received that thumbs up, they can go into all the bank accounts linked to the accused persons to try and see how the flow of money was happening, how it went from one bank account to another, what names were used, used in the businesses, etc., etc., and then they can formulate a proper charge therein to see whether or not they're going to add the charge of maybe money laundering, if that's the case, or fraud, everything that you can think of that relates to money. But it would have to be with a 212 affidavit. 212 affidavit is a affidavit in terms of Section 212, the Criminal Procedure Act, that confirms the goings-ons in the bank account as per Section 205.
And fraud and corruption, I was reading earlier, have already been added to the charges that they're going to face. Next week, they're going to go back to court, Magudumana and these other co-accused, to try and get bail. What are their chances when you consider the seriousness of the charges, be it corruption, be it fraud, allegedly violating a corpse or multiple bodies of people who'd already died, etc., and helping an inmate to basically break out of lawful custody?
So they're facing a Schedule 6 bail application, all of the accused persons. So now, as a result, Schedule 6 bail applications require that there be exceptional circumstances, right? So in terms of Section 6, subsection 9 of the Criminal Procedure Act, there's no real definition of what exceptional circumstances could be. They can vary from anything that could be deemed in that particular case to be exceptional. Now, having said that, of the accused persons that were before the court today, only one person can be viewed as a flight risk, and that may be a very big hindrance to her getting bail, to Dr. Nandipa, in this situation. So the state will be leading evidence by the form of an affidavit from the IO, the investigating officer, who will then list reasons why he or she is opposed to bail, and the reasons that he will list, and that's when the affidavit actually, it's going to be the other way around. The applicants, the accused persons, they're going to start with their affidavits, putting it to the court as to why they should be released on bail, and then the state is going to then read the IO's affidavit into record in a defense or in a response to that application with the reasons why they are opposing bail. But with the other accused persons, they were still within the country. It didn't seem that it was that difficult for the state or the police to find them, so they had probably a slightly better chance of getting bail, not that good, but I am very sure that the state is highly opposed to Dr. Nandipa getting bail.
And are we fully in the small fish, big fish process of this case, where there will be an attempt by the state to break up, separate basically Magudumana, Bester, and maybe Magudumana's father from the officials in terms of trying to build a bigger case against the bigger fish, shall we say, i.e. Bester and Magudumana, considering just the number of charges against them and the allegations, the seriousness thereof?
Yes, there is a high likelihood of a separation of trials happening, depending on what more is going to be discovered as investigations go ahead. Remember, just because bail application is happening doesn't mean that investigations have stopped. The very nature of bail is urgent because we are infringing the right of a person's freedom. So we have to give reason as to why it is found that it is constitutional to infringe this person's right to freedom. That's why we started bail application even before the investigations have been concluded. So now, if the investigations keep going after bail has been granted or not granted, then as they go on and they see there's no link in certain crimes, they may request the state, they may decide to do a separation of trials and do one trial with these accused based on these charges, and the other accused persons continue with another a plethora of charges. So we'll see how the investigations go and how the state decides this matter.
Nthabiseng Dubazana, legal analyst. Good to speak to you. Thank you for your time tonight.